Interpolations take more than just input range and output range. They also take an extrapolate value. This extrapolate value defaults to extend, which just says it's going to extend the range beyond whatever the output range is. So let's take a look at a quick example of this. We have our animation that goes to 2, and then once it's completed, it will animate to 1, back to its beginning. And because we've defined our input range from 1 to 2 and our output range from 1 to 2, these will just map linearly to the values. So if we refresh this and press on it, as we animate to 2, we'll animate to the 2 times the scale and then back down to 1 with this animation here. So let's take a look if we comment out this to 2 and switch it to 2 value of 3. Now our input range does not go to 3, and so what will happen is it will analyze the step range between 1 and 2 to the output range of 1 and 2, and then figure out what this third value will be. So now if we refresh this and press on it, rather than animating to 2, it will animate to 3 times the scale. This can be something that is beneficial. However, there are times where you want a separate thing to happen. So for example, there's extrapolate clamp. Extrapolate clamp will take a look at the output range, and once the input range is beyond it on either the left or right side, whatever this is set at, it will not go beyond 2 or go beyond 1. So now if we refresh, even though we're animating to 3, which would be over here, and with the default of extend, it would figure out that we need to go to a scale of 3, it will stop at 2. The other extrapolation value is identity. What identity will do is once the input range has exceeded, rather than clamping like we have here, it will just assume the value of the animated value. So let's switch it over to identity, and rather than animating to 1 to 2 for our output range, we'll do 1.1. So once our input range and our animated value is exceeded at the 2, it will immediately skip to a scale of 2 and then animate to 3. And we can see that by refreshing here. Slowly to 1.1, hits 2, and continues to 3. However, when this animates backwards to 1 from 3, once it is then within the 2 range, now our input range and our output range and our interpolation will kick in, and we can see it do its step backwards as well. Let's switch this back to 2, and we can see that we also have extrapolate left and extrapolate right. So you can define how something should happen on the left and the right. So let's switch this and put an extrapolate left with a clamp, and we'll add, instead of a 2 value of 1, we'll add a 2 value of 0. However, we're still animating to a value of 3 to begin, and because we are not defining an extrapolate right of clamp, this will then continue on to 3, and once it tries to animate back down to 0, which would then continue this along and animate this value, this box to disappear, it will stop at 1. So we can see that. We press this, animates to 3, shoots back down to 1, but our animated value is actually down at 0. And that's because we've defined an extrapolate left side, so over here, of clamp.